Ladybeard! Hey, podcast kittens! It's the Cathy Cat and it's the Ladybeard!
Hey, Ladybeard, you want more time? The cat with the beard!
What is that?
It's shaking it like a maraca, exactly.
Yeah. Welcome on our podcast. It is wonderful that you are here and listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. This is the quintessential podcast for information about Japan.
Exactly, because we are Cat with Beard
from Japan. She's the cat, I'm the beard. We're from Japan. If you want to know things about Japan or anything,
then tune into our podcast.
This is the place here, and it could be something like a Japanese paperclip. How does it differ from a German paperclip? We've got the answers right here.
We've got all the answers here. We don't really know much about paperclips, but we know a couple of things about Japan we would like to share with you.
Sharing is caring.
Exactly, and it's wonderful that you are tuning in again with us today. It's wonderful to have you listening to our shenanigans
This
again.
is the best intro we've ever done. This is great. Let's just keep it going. Japanese water. However, it's different from the rest of the world water.
Shakamaka.
We've run out of props.
Well, we don't have those glass divisions between us anymore.
Oh, yeah,
we
you're right, we don't.
We don't.
Oh, yeah, this is amazing.
We can now give each other high fives.
All right, this is fantastic. I hadn't actually taken that properly into account. Good point. We are free of the shackles of bits of plastic.
Yes, you can literally see us progress through the time. So now that we're at this episode, we are now in the 40s, actually, of the episodes, which is fantastic.
Have we really been in the 40s?
Yeah, some. Oh, bless you!
I apologize for the interruption.
Explosion.
I apologize for the
Beard
interruption.
explosion. Ladybeard explosion. Wonderful. Bless you.
Bit of a schneeze. Thank you very much. Dankeschön.
Gesundheit.
40s. What? 40. How did we get to 40-something?
Well, with a lot of hard work, dedication, and a lot of wonderful guests.
Soon we'll be at 3,000.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I mean, hey, I'm really happy that we have this podcast going every week, and also obviously our YouTube episodes.
Yes.
So you can actually see our beautiful faces.
On
Ladybeard
YouTube.
today is wearing blue. I am wearing purple.
Yep.
We
This
like
is
the Power
something
Rangers.
spectacular. Yeah, I'm the blue one. I'm the nerd one, I guess.
Well, I am the purple one.
I have the pink one. She's
Purple. I think I'm the purple one. Definitely purple.
All right. Well, you just make up
I'm like
our
this
own
the
Power
Special
Ranger.
Power Ranger that came in from.
You're so unique that you are your own color.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm lost for words. We haven't even started talking about today's topic yet, have
Well,
we?
speaking of words.
Yeah, freestyle today.
Speaking of words,
Ooh,
we're
good
going to be
point.
talking about the Japanese language a little bit today.
Yes, we've talked about it before, but we're going to talk about a little bit more. On your personal wanted request of give us more, let us help, because a lot of you guys want to learn Japanese.
A lot of you doing the old studying, the old benkyo, so we thought we'd see if we could help out.
So help out a little bit.
A small way.
Which always surprises me, but we have a little graph here in front of our table, and it says if you are an English native speaker, there's different categories to how to learn a language and how long it will take you.
Different languages.
And I am still, I wouldn't believe it before, but apparently, according to this wonderful graph that we have here, Japanese is the hardest language for English speakers to learn.
I mean, I can see that because, as we have discussed in the past, there's the language of Japanese, and then there's the way things are communicated with the language, which are two kind of different things.
Things that, communication without words is a thing, and also the 3 different alphabets, the syllable alphabets here. I still thought, though, that Chinese was more difficult because of the characters, the writing.
Well, Chinese is, from my experience, I'm pretty low level in Chinese, but from my experience, Chinese is quite a logical language. So once you just know the words, they click together like Lego. And it's very straightforward, and there's not a lot of things that go changing. So in Japanese, there's a lot of form change, and there's a lot of politeness changes. Whereas in Chinese, it's just, today I go, tomorrow I go, yesterday I go. It's just click, clack, click, clack, clack. So things click together very easily. So once you know the words, you can click them together quite easily into sentences and communication, right? Really? Whereas in Japanese, we have to do a million years of faffing around and saying things that are not the thing we're trying to actually communicate. And then the other person's supposed to infer our meaning.
But to be honest, having learned a little bit of French in school, I thought at least the grammar in Japanese is pretty easy.
Is that right?
Because you just have the word stem, say the stem for eat is tabe.
Yeah.
And then you just add the endings that you can add to other words as well to say taberu,
All right.
tabeta,
All right.
tabetai,
All right.
tabemashita. You just you have the core that doesn't change, and you just change the endings whether you ate, you want to eat, you did eat. Like you just change the endings, which I found very easy compared to irregular verbs that we have a lot in Europe, where the entire word changes into something that sounds completely different. I mean,
But they'll say it all again in Keigo, and then say it all again in Osaka, Ben, and then say it all again.
yeah, I mean, like that's dialects. We have them in every country too. But for example, let's just take English. So like, what is go, went, gone?
Sure.
Like, it sounds like something completely else, right?
True,
You're like, is this even the same word? And in Japanese, it's generally fairly straightforward, which is like it always will have that word, that core, and then you just change the endings. So it made it for me, because I studied it by myself, very easy to study because there were not so many irregular things in the grammar.
So
you
you're
can
saying-
already
you're
learn
saying-
it quite so.
You're saying we've been presented with incorrect information with this map and this graph and this whole thing. Cathy Cat is
the
having an
lies!
uprising against the production team.
Lies!
Cathy Cat has
Lies!
declared her knowledge base superior.
No, there is actually a thing that makes Japanese language difficult, and it's the 3 alphabets. I
Yeah,
think.
that's very tough.
The grammar is easy. I think, personally, I'm sorry, the grammar is easier than a lot of other languages. For example, Russian has like several tenses. Like, there's not just future, past, and present, there's more. So I think the grammar in Japanese is easy, but the 3-syllable alphabets and non-verbal communication in Japanese is quite hard. And that's something that you wouldn't pick up with time. Also if you have great teachers, which congratulations, if you can afford Japanese classes, that probably helps. I haven't had that. Have you had Japanese classes?
No,
little
not
bit?
really. No, I think I went for a trial lesson once and I said I didn't like it.
It's tricky. Like, I think hiragana and katakana are 2 of those syllable alphabets. Those ones, once you've remembered them once, they won't change. Hiragana and katakana, I'm sorry, just sit down and you have to learn
Just
them
learn,
by
just
heart.
bash them out, yeah.
Yeah, that's you just have to do it. Hiragana, you can pretty much write everything, but it will sound like you're a kid if you just write everything in hiragana. Katakana is usually used to express words that are from non-Japanese countries, like Coca-Cola, kohi, stuff that biru.
Caviar.
Anything that is not a
Cathy Cat.
Cathy Cat, exactly. Ladybeard.
Ladybeard, exactly.
Exactly. Anything that's not a Japanese thing will be expressed in katakana. Again, you just have to learn those by heart. I'm sorry, but actually that is the easy part of it, because next step is kanji. In kanji, I have already mentioned with the passion is a very difficult thing because
So kanji are
many.
they're like the Chinese characters. So a character is a word in and of itself, and there's no spelling that goes into it. It's a word. So as opposed to katakana, if I want to spell Cathy Cat, I can say
Katto.
Exactly. 4 syllables going together. None of that. In kanji, just Cathy Cat. That's one kanji, you see. That's how it works. But as much as they're not... I hit you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to strike you.
No, it's fine.
Sincere
Oh, I
apologies.
should have done that.
Sincere apology.
I should do a
Sincere
live of a
apologies.
football play and go like, oh.
Cathy Cat did a sick burn to our soccer playing friends right there. My goodness. But kanji do have radicals of which they are made up.
Oh gosh, they have sounds and meanings. That's how if I break it down into easy parts, there's sounds and meanings. But not every kanji has one sound and one meaning. Oh no. Oh no. It has several sounds and several meanings, and this is where Japanese language gets difficult.
Yes, very challenging.
Yeah.
One kanji can be pronounced many different ways. A minimum of 2, a maximum of 150. I'm not joking.
It's very, 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 very
150.
That's where the language gets hard.
I don't want to say it's a bit ambiguous. I don't want to imply that maybe things could be a bit more specific, but it's pretty ambiguous, and frankly, things could be a lot more specific. I'll
Yeah.
be frank.
I think, but
Frank.
how is that? If you have kanji in Chinese language and kanji in the Japanese language, isn't that the same level of difficulty though?
Well, in Chinese, it's different in the dialects like Cantonese, but in Mandarin, the standardized version of the language, you read what you say, right? So you got to learn the kanji, yeah, and again, it's made up of the radicals and so forth. But once you know it, and then it just clicks together. It's none of this. It could be pronounced 17,000 different ways. It's just I
okay.
is war, and it'll always be war.
So it will not. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm having now a revelation. While Chinese is not the most difficult in that stat that we had there, it's because Japanese language will change the sound and the meaning.
And then how do you know what sound is going to be? Well, that's due to the context in which we find the kanji.
Oh, right. So you don't get portrayed by your friend. Look, I see. When I learned kanji, I would go like, hey, you kanji, I remembered you now. You're my friend. We're going to go on a lovely journey. I will be able to read you from now on. Oh, no, that's not how it works. Those kanji, they will betray you. They will stand next to another person, or like different kanji, and suddenly there's something completely else. They have a different meaning. They have a different sound, and you feel betrayed. You're like, hey, dude, I thought I knew you. I thought we were friends. I know. Why are you doing that to me? That's what I get a lot with Japanese language.
It's like that Chris Brown song.
Roll. Sorry.
That was
Soccer
a good reaction.
Again.
That was good. That was a good soccer player reaction.
Soccer player reaction. Sorry,
it's like
you have
that
to
Chris
see that
Brown
on YouTube.
song. These kanji ain't loyal. You know what I'm saying? Hey, just stick with one thing. She's up and down and all over the place, getting mixed and matched with all kinds of other partners.
You thought kanjis were your friend. They're not. They betray you, which is very confusing. Some kanjis, yes, they will be the same thing, but probably most of the most commonly used one will mean a whole plethora of things, which makes it hard. That's apparently also one of the reasons if you watch Japanese TV, and maybe you've watched a Japanese TV show before, if it's a normal TV program show, there will be a lot of what they are saying will be on screen. And it will generally be with kanjis in there to kind of keep people reminding them of their kanji knowledge as well. It's apparently
what's that what it's for?
That's a rumor. That's a rumor that's out there that actually loads of the kanji on screen is also to make sure that the general population is aware of the kanji now. It just became a thing in entertainment industry. Not sure if that's true.
Is that true? No one knows.
They're not quite sure, but hey, at least it is something that will keep the kanji in your mind and see you a lot. You will be exposed to a lot of kanji even if you're just riding on the train.
Yeah.
If you are trying to read a manga, though, good news! There is furigana.
Oh, good. There is furigana, which is great.
Furigana are your friends. So if there's a kanji you can't read, furigana will be tiny little hiragana letters around that to help you read that kanji. So you can actually, if you have learned your hiragana and katakana, like we started earlier, then you can actually start reading manga as long as it's aimed at younger people. Already, because they will generally, for example, Naruto and such, will generally have those little furigana next to it.
What about writing the kanji? How do you enjoy training your hand to do all that?
Oh yeah, that's like personal torture. It's wonderful. It's like if you're really into personal torture and making yourself feel inadequate, then trying to write it all by hand is a wonderful encounter.
I actually quite like writing the kanji by hand. That's one of my favorite parts.
Really?
Well, yeah, because it's first things first. Once you learn how to write the radicals, then each kanji is just a combination of radicals. So
says the person who's learned Chinese. Respect for that. Respect.
But also, my experience is writing the kanji is kind of like drawing pictures, you know? Oh. Keep in mind I have very messy handwriting, so I must look like a 2-year-old who can't hold a pen properly, right? So, they're disgusting looking when I write them, but I find the process of writing them actually quite fun. So if you're someone who likes drawing but isn't a good drawer, maybe you'll enjoy writing kanji like me.
Wow. Okay, your idea of fun and mine are radically different. So just sit there. Radically different.
But as it turns out, as we discussed previously with our map, Japanese is the hardest language for you to get your silly little head around if you're a native English speaker. It's going to take you more than 88 weeks, according to this. So,
there's also other things apart from the kanji is the Keigo. There are polite languages. So, for example, if you're German, you know polite language. We have the Z, the certain level of language that you use for people who you're not that friendly with. You kind of create a little bit of a distance and you show a little bit of respect. You usually use it on people who are older than you or in a higher position and stuff like, or people you don't know. So that is kind of familiar and that you can kind of relate to. So that's a certain level of polite language Keigo. But then there is Son Keigo, which you use for even higher people, which are used for gods or CEOs or customers of a store.
Oh, really? Is that what we do? San Keigo when there's a customer, is that right?
Yeah, because the customer is God in Japan. So sometimes they will throw that heavy Keigo at you, and then that's actually when words can change.
I
Instead of 食べてください, please eat, because I said 食べ was a really easy one. They go 召し上がってください. It's suddenly a different word they're using.
Yes. See, this is the challenge, you see. You're not just learning one language, you're learning about 16,000 languages all used intermingled.
All the shenanigans.
And then sometimes if someone speaks to you in Keigo, if you don't reply with the correct politeness form, that can be very insulting for them.
I think it depends on the situation. I think a lot of foreigners do get the gaijin card, the foreigner card for that.
Sure.
So actually also when you sometimes use the too formal language, it can sometimes sound a little bit as if you're taking the mickey.
Oh, is that right?
Your Lord Highness, Ladybeard, would you be so kind and bless me with your company today? You know what I mean?
All right, I will.
If we overuse the Keigo, it can kind of also be a bit.
Oh, all right. I wasn't aware of that. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, just the normal amount of Keigo is good, and if you can use the right Keigo with confidence, then feel free to use it. But if you overdo it, it might sound a bit like your
Cathy Cat, do you have a favorite Japanese expression?
favorite Japanese expression. Oh, there's a lot, but sorry, you put me in the spot there. Favorite Japanese expression or
my
word?
favorite expression, see? A word is fine. What's your
Word for me. I'm cheesy. I'm super cheesy. It was the first one that I learned when it was like in my musical group when we were doing dancing and performing as Sailor Moon characters.
Is it love?
It's Yume. It's dream.
Oh, okay. It's still good.
Dream, you know. And I mean, in the end, I followed my dream. I'm here now. So Yume is probably always going to be my number one. How about you?
Mine's an expression. My favorite Japanese expression is "massugu itte kudasai."
Go
Which
straight.
means please go straight. That's right. You know why? Because when I started learning, I learned when I first started learning off Pimsleys, the language learning CDs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a thing called the chichai z in Japanese, which is there's one letter called z, and we have a little version of it. It makes a tiny pause in the word, so it's not massugu, it's sugu, and it's not ite, it's ite. And so
those
this
little tsus.
first expression that taught me chichai z.
I found those actually kind of some of these jisai tsu, like those little gaps and stops you have. Those were our little things that usually a lot of foreigners trip over.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have that in German. We don't have that in English. Tiny little pause in the middle of a word. It's,
Those
something.
little pauses, they will get you. I guess we kind of trying explaining in this episode just why it is so difficult as well. And then there is like slang that only is spoken by a certain group of people. So, for example, the Gyaru girls, the wild girls of Japan, they used to have their own slang. And now that they are dying out, their slang is dying out too. So, they used to be like stuff like choweriba, which was apparently like a thing. And now if you say choweriba, everyone will just think you're old because that word is not used anymore.
Is that right?
Yeah, choweriba is not used anymore.
Oh,
Very bad, super very bad. That's dead. So
Oh, really? That was one of the first things I got taught when I got here. It'd be really funny by saying choriba.
choweriba, yeah, it's over. So it's gone and that's gone.
Well,
The
don't
trend
say
of
that.
is gone.
You'll sound like a boomer if you go saying that one. all over
Apparently,
the
there's
place.
also like things like paddy pee.
Putty pee.
Paddy pee.
Yeah, that's not
like,
good anymore?
That's like no, that's currently a slang. There's like party people.
Yeah.
Paddy pee.
Paddy pee.
Those kind of things you would not find in a textbook though. You just generally find it from people. We've done a video on Ask Japanese where I just literally asked them, tell me something you think I don't know about Japanese language. And we had some people who gave me like really funny Japanese expressions, including paddy pee and yuitsumuni.
What's that?
Like just like once in the universe, kind of like
Once in the universe.
yuitsumuni. Like it's hard to. There's a couple of those that are kind of hard to translate as well in there. You kind of have to just get it out of context and feeling. Okay. So yutsumuni is like something like original. Original, like being original.
Oh, okay. All
like
right,
yutsumuni is like very, very rare or just one out of a million kind of thing. It's what I've at least been told.
If you were going to get a Japanese tattoo, what would you get tattooed on your body in Japanese?
So first of all, I wouldn't get a tattoo because I love the onsen and the hot springs way too
yeah,
much.
you can't have a tattoo and go in there.
Oh no,
Good
it's
point.
still a big problem to have that. Also, I've been speaking to a tattoo artist recently, and he literally there was a guy who had like left and right, migi and hirari, on his shoulder blades. There's some people who get crazy tattoos just for the sake of it. Again, I wouldn't do that. I think I would be cheesy. And I would probably, if I had to get a tattoo, let's say the rules change tomorrow and everyone who wants to join the Ensign has to have a tattoo of a kanji symbol, it would probably be I know it's cheesy. It'd probably be still Yume, just because it was
Alright.
my first word. It got me
That's
here.
fine.
It made me, pursue my career.
Made
Work
you
really
who you
hard and
are.
get here. Yeah, lots of sacrifices, but I am here right now. What's your tattoo?
Look.
Masugu?
I
Masugu ite kudasai.
definitely get that one kanji that means it was a silly idea to get this Japanese tattoo.
Just baka.
Yeah, just go on there, right, baka.
Just get baka on there. Some of the words that do, sometimes some people had like, it means friend, and then
No, it doesn't
mean friend.
Yeah, if you're gonna get tattooed in a foreign language, just make sure you ask many varied sources. So your tattoo actually means what you think it means.
I mean, the worst ones are the ones where people think it means something, and it's not even kanji. It's just random things that shop made up. That's usually
nonsense.
abroad. They just made up nonsense strokes, put them together, and said it's whatever language. Be careful about that. So generally, I wouldn't recommend getting tattoos unless you in kanji, unless you really know what they
Be
mean.
very, very careful.
You don't
What
want
I'd
to
say.
accidentally get the wrong thing on there and then not be able to join the wonderful hot springs in Japan. What a waste.
Let's talk about wa and ga and e and no. And everyone's favorite part of Japanese, the particles.
Oh, the particles.
Tell us-
They're a pain.
Particularly challenging.
Oh, yeah. There's the kaimono e iku, kaimono ni iku will completely change whether you're going shopping for the purpose of going shopping or you're just going shopping. That is where a lot of foreigners again struggle, and that's if you have Japanese classes. I'm sure you have teachers who will iron that out, but if you just learn it by yourself, good luck. 'cause
These are the
that's gonna make
particles,
you
for everyone who
stumble.
doesn't understand, these are the particles that go after words in Japanese. What's an English equivalent?
It's like they stick in it to go to the mall.
Yeah, exactly. Go to the mall as opposed to go in the mall, as opposed to go at the mall.
The cat is
What do we
under
call
the
those?
table. The cat is near the table. The cat-
Prepositions? Don't we call them something like that? Isn't that
You're the English
something
native
like
speaker.
that? Something like that. I don't know. Something like that.
We'll make
Anyway,
my way out of here. That's difficult.
that in Japanese is very tough. I watched a video of a Japanese teacher, and she was saying the English equivalent is, why do we say I'm at home and not say I'm in home?
Oh, very good.
So logically, there's no reason why it shouldn't be I'm in home, but we say I'm at home. And so
point.
there's no actual reason, that's just how we speak. So now you have these particles in Japanese, and this is, I think, for most foreigners, the hardest bit of this flippin' language to learn.
That is a tricky one. Also, what is very tricky, is the non-verbal conversation. In Japan.
That's probably even harder than the flippin'
The
particles.
hardest one. I think that one you cannot learn in a textbook. That one you will also not learn in a Japanese class because teacher ain't got time for that. It's the reading the room. Kuki oyomu. Read the air is what they say.
Here's an example. Let's say in English, if I wanted Cathy Cat to pass me some water, I might say, Cathy Cat, can you pass me that water, please? And then she'd pass it to me. And I'd say, thank you very much. And it's over. Whereas in Japanese, I might just feel like this. I might say, Cathy Cat, isn't the decor in this room appealing? And now she's supposed to observe me stretched up like this, and she's supposed to say, look.
Oh,
here
you
this-
look like you're kind of have a very, very, very thirsty face.
Yeah,
Here
exactly.
for your thirsty face.
And then I decide, I couldn't possibly trouble you by taking your water. That would be awfully rude.
Oh,
of
and
me.
I'm like, but I insist that you have this water.
Oh, but I really,
You don't look
really...
tired at all. I'm not saying that you look tired. I just think you should have this water. You've been working so hard today.
Oh, if you really insist, then I suppose I'll be left with no choice but to take this water. Generations of my family are in your debt. This is, that's the same conversation in Japanese going on right there.
Okay, but don't take us too.
No, I do.
Take us
totally
with
do.
a pinch and
No,
a
take
pint
us
of salt.
perfectly literally in every regard.
Pint of salt. But there's a lot of also like reading the room that just happens by people not talking, which I find even more interesting.
Yeah. We were speaking about on the trains. We were talking about people giving you the stink eye. The stink eye is a massive part of communication.
Oh, yeah. Stink eye is a massive part of communication, especially if you're not wearing a mask or doing anything that is kind of like a bit against the culture. People give you the stinky eye. They won't say anything, but they give you the stinky eye.
Stinky eye.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the stinky eye now as an example.
Is that stinky enough? I wasn't sure. Was
Give
that...
the camera the stink eye.
I'm not sure if I can do my stink eye properly.
Here's my stink eye.
Oh, damn. Oh, you don't want to mess with that. Oh, no.
Oh, I'll stink you up.
Oh. You throw someone that face, they're leaving that train.
We can smell that from Calcutta.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that was stinky. That was a stinky one.
Aye.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to kind of just read out of thing. And there's a lot of situations where people will give you I will think about it, or which pretty much is a no. I will think about it, or let's discuss that next time. That's a no. The Japanese people generally don't like throwing a straight out no at you.
Yeah.
So generally it's going to be a roundabout way of saying no.
You can never say I'm not going to do that. You can never say just straight up, no, I'm not going to do that. You have to say, oh, it's difficult.
Oh, it's difficult.
Mizakashi.
Ooh,
Yeah,
mizakashi. Mizakashi means no.
And if people have if people have gotten to saying muri, that's impossible. That means they have jumped over all this politeness and now there's no more faffing around. It's impossible. Just leave it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of Japanese people who are now used to deal with Westerners, they will be honest and be putting out that no now. Because they learned that if they go in a roundabout way and say, oh, we will think about it.
We think they're thinking.
They think they're thinking about it.
They're not thinking about
if lots of Japanese businessmen who have dealt with foreigners, they will actually then say, oh. And they might even be so as direct to actually use the word no.
No.
それはnoです. And that's actually good because it doesn't keep up hopes with the other person.
Very
but generally
direct.
that is rare.
Everyone knows where they're
That
standing.
is generally rare. It's generally rare. People will in a roundabout way say, maybe
It's
we'll think about
difficult.
it.
We're going to have to
Could
check.
Be might have to, ooh.
There's a lot of this.
Oh, yeah. It's generally a, yeah. Yeah, that sucking in the air through the teeth, that's a big one. Also, there's a couple of things that I really find interesting. There are some expressions that will be benign or not even listened to in Western languages. In Japanese, it's a huge insult, which is the...
Oh, is that an insult, is it?
That just the sound of, when you're a bit annoyed and you're like, oh, come on, like... It's not a big deal, but it's called shitauchi. It has a name in Japanese, and if you do that, it's actually quite aggressive.
Is it really?
Don't do it.
I must have been offending people left, right, and center. This is the first time I've realized that's so offensive. Really?
That's actually quite offensive. So I actually, when I came in high school, I did that, and then, oh my god, you did shitauchi at me, you did shitauchi at me, oh my god. It's really rare, and if you listen out to it, it's rare that someone will actually do it in Japan too.
Do you know what? I crossed my legs on TV once and was reprimanded for crossing my legs.
Oh yeah, apparently crossing your legs is very, very impolite in Japanese culture too. Again, another untold thing, and also, is also very dangerous.
Almost got in a fight in like my first couple of months here.
Just
saying, huh?
So for us, it's like a what? Can you please repeat yourself? In Japanese, it's very bad. It's like you're trying to pick a fight. It's like,
yeah, exactly. That's how I almost got in a fight.
It's like, what the F?
Yeah.
Like, there's the sound, don't do it. If you don't understand something, say, すみません、ちょっとわからなかったんですけど, or すみません, or any kind of way. Never say
If you want someone to repeat themselves, it's moikai. That means one more time. Moikai. It's never
Never Never No intonation of not a not a not a no. No. Don't at people. You get into so much trouble.
If you're laughing with one single ha, can you get away with that?
I can't imagine the situation right now.
Tell me a joke.
そして亀が笑った。 Well, that's a laugh. I don't think that's I didn't understand that. Can you repeat yourself?
Tell me the joke again.
Let's do a proper at the camera as how it comes across. So I will say and can you enact how it will actually mean in Japanese culture?
Okay, no worries.
That's pretty much what it can kind of mean, right?
That was the reply I got.
So you might be saying it like me and think it comes across like me. It will come across like Ladybeard, like trying to pick a fight.
It really, genuinely, if you want to start a physical fight, that's how you would do it.
Oh, yeah. Don't howl at people. That's another really important thing of Japanese culture. So there's a lot of nonverbal and verbal communication. Interesting. We have another wonderful graph here, which actually puts it nonverbal communication versus verbal communication. And guess what? Most non-verbal is Japan, and most verbal, my country, Germany. We are very direct. We will say some things that we probably shouldn't.
No,
like, you
it's
actually
good.
do look fat in that dress.
No.
Or you actually shouldn't have eaten that extra cake.
No.
And actually cheating on that person, I think you're an awful person. We will say things very directly. But it's the kind of German way. At least you know where you stand. There's no miracles about it. We will be too direct. And we've already been criticized a lot for sometimes just saying things that we probably shouldn't saying straight out to people's faces. But that's the German way. At least you know what you're getting.
Cathy Cat just opened up a side of herself that we haven't seen before to all of us
I
right here,
didn't say
right
that
now.
I would say that to people. I probably wouldn't. I've lived in the UK and in Japan and I love people way too much. But a lot of my German friends, they're very direct. They will say things like, no, she looks fat in that dress. Yeah, I would never say that. You look beautiful in that dress. You do you, girl. You wear what you want to wear. But Germans are generally very, very direct. I do actually take myself out of that. I've been living in Japan for a long time. But again, in a way, for me, it feels almost cathartic to see some people be very direct. I mean, Americans are also very direct. But we Germans are direct to a rude point. But in Japan, it's like the absolute opposite.
Yeah, in Japan, there's no directness at all. You have to beat around the bush, like the bush was never beaten before. That went off the rails a bit.
It's sometimes a bit painful to see when a Japanese girl tries to get out of a conversation with a Western guy and he's not getting the point.
Not getting the hint.
Oh, that's painful sometimes. Oh, God, that is painful. Because she will try and say in the most politeness way, look, I'm not interested. I would like to go. And he will be like, okay, so when are we meeting next time? I think this went great. Like the Western guy would be like, I think this was a great day. I think she said we're going to maybe meet sometime. She's thinking about it right now. I think I have totally chances with her. While for everyone else who knows Japanese unspoken language, we'd be like, oh no. That is never ever going to happen
sorry,
again.
my
And you
friend,
were
you
way
flubbed
too
it.
pushy. You were way too pushy.
You muffed it.
And
Yep.
she's not gonna
She's not
keep
interested.
your number on
Not
file.
interested. No. You're getting blocked.
That unfortunately you cannot learn by textbooks. You just need to learn to read the room.
Yeah, you got to get in the environment and mess it up many times before you start sorting it out. Really, I guess. Onomatopoeia is a big thing in Japanese as well, isn't it?
Onomatopoeia. I think onomatopoeia is like sound language, like,
Bang!
bang is like a good one that everyone knows. That in Japan we have about 5,000 words of onomatopoeia, which I think though is probably derived from manga.
You reckon?
I think manga has been a big driver in that onomatopoeia language because they just came up with really cool and stylized words and of creating onomatopoeia. I think that's somehow connected because there's so many things that are brought to life by onomatopoeia thanks to manga. So I think manga has influenced normal language and language has influenced manga. I think that's probably a reason why we get so many onomatopoeia words.
Yeah, words that are also sounds like bang, slam when you slam the door.
And in Japanese, there's usually two words together, like paku paku is when you eat something.
Yes.
Or
chewing is mogu mogu.
Mogu mogu or kira kira is something
Yeah, it's
sparkling. So
shiny,
generally those
yeah.
are like repeating words that just make a sound, even though some things don't make a sound. Glitter does usually make a sound, but kira kira is the sound for like something sparkling. Yes.
Japanese, what a flippant language. What's your advice, Cathy Cat, for our dear viewers who want to be better at the Japanese language? Impart some wisdom, impart some advice. Tell the people what to do.
I've said it in Ask Japanese videos. I've said it in my videos. I've said it on YouTube everywhere. I've said it on my streams on Twitch. I've said it again and I will say it here again. It's consistency. It doesn't matter what you do, but it's important that you are consistent with it, which means, yes, you can study for 3 days full on Japanese, but if you drop it afterwards, it was all for nothing.
For naught.
Yeah. Ideally, it's better to break Japanese. It's a mountain, right? How do you eat a mountain? You break it into little pebbles, and it's the same thing. Do it little by little, but do it consistency, maybe every morning or every evening, or ideally consistently over a long span of time. Incorporate it into your daily routines. That will help you keep up with the language. And then once you feel good enough and once you think you can actually maybe say a couple of things, then try and actually use it. So I found it always really, really helpful to create friends in whichever country I am where I can then practice my language skills with. And if you come to Japan, try to avoid speaking your language and try to speak as much as possible. What's your advice, Ladybeard?
My advice is Get your books, get your exercises, get your teacher. Do what both of us did not do, and just study in the traditional way. That's my advice, because that way you will learn the language from the ground up, the way it's supposed to be learnt.
I guess so.
As opposed to doing what I did, which is learning all kinds of higgledy-piggledy bits and pieces, then putting them together in an incorrect way, which got my point across, but was totally inaccurate, then later having to go back and fix everything, because that's the process I'm going through now, and I don't recommend that. Just learn correctly from the beginning. That's what I reckon.
If you can learn it correctly from the beginning, it's great.
It's
if
ideal.
you can afford language classes, that's great too. Recently, there's plethora of stuff online, though. There's like apps, there's like YouTube channels, there's all kinds of shenanigans that will help you too. At this point in time, you can actually get a lot of things online, but to kind of iron out the errors and quirks that you might get by studying yourself, it does help to have a teacher.
I reckon.
Yes.
I reckon.
There we go. But there's a lot of things, in my opinion, you can do without. If you are a poor penny and you're sitting somewhere and you want to learn Japanese, then you can. You literally, without spending a cent, you can learn Japanese, and you can learn it well because you're listening to us right now, which means you have at least an internet connection to listen to something. So you can, if you have enough dedication and again consistency, you can learn it. If you have money to spend, fantastic, do it, get those classes. But there's a lot of people who's learned at university level Japanology and all those shenanigans, and who learned and studied Japan, but they still can't speak it.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people who then will be able to, for example, write the kanji because they studied that, but they haven't had that experience of actually using the language, and then they can't really speak or hold up a conversation. So in the end, it's up to you how hard you study, how much you practice it, and how much you actually put it into action.
Cathy Cat, where do people find you on the internet?
Cathy Cat, _TV, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. I forgot to mention my Instagram a couple of times, but also Ask Japanese, the YouTube channel, and Japan Railway Journal is a program in the English language from a Japanese channel called NHK, which broadcasts around the world about the wonderful things about railway here in Japan. You can find us there, and of course, also here on the Cat with Beard podcast. Ladybeard.
Ladybeard's on the internet at Ladybeard_Japan, and my group Babybeard at Babybeard_Japan. And when you watch the Cat with Beard from Japan YouTube channel and listen to the podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave comments, leave questions. If you want us to discuss something, write it down in the clickety TikTok box, not TikTok, click clock box, the typety type. You can write it in kanji, hiragana, katakana if you want. We'll still figure out what it is. Hey, you can write it with Chat GPT. Any way you want to write it, just get it, do it, leave comments and whatnot. Thank you for the algorithm help.
But yes, please rank this podcast on your device with the highest of stars possible so more people can hear the shenanigans of Cat with Beard from Japan all around the world. Check out our YouTube, check out our Twitter. You're awesome, and we catch you soon for another episode of
Cat with